Okay, let's get right into the stock charts. I'm going to throw this out here. We've got triple Qs, and we're starting to break down right into the close on a Friday. Now, if anybody's been following me for a while, they know that I'm not a big fan of moves that take place into the close on a Friday. That's oftentimes market makers, algos, running stops, playing games in thin volume trading. But I do want to point it out here in the tech sector. Triple Qs here on the hourly chart, you can see we've basically just held this kind of plateau area. You could move it up here, but basically we've just been chopping sideways, and this last hour of the day we're starting to break down below there. So things to watch for. Now the SPY also looks very similar. The SPY started to sell off from the highs. If I look at the daily, you can see we've started to work our way lower now on the SPY. It's down from the highs. The all-time highs is down about 1.5%. And the Qs had not broken down yet. So I pointed that out in my videos this week that I was still looking for the Qs, the tech sector, to start to break. We're starting to see that into the close today. So we'll see if that sticks, or if the algos kick in and they bid it right back up, and we close back above there. So things to watch. Now, if you do get that breakdown in the Qs, and we already have the breakdown in the SPY, then I think we've started the next correction in the market. So we'll look for we're going to look for more selling basically across the board in the SPY and the Qs. And that's really what I see. So interesting that it's breaking down into the close, and it is, you need to kind of weigh that take that with a grain of salt. But at the same time, breakdowns are breakdowns until proven otherwise. So we need to make sure that we're on top of that. The other thing is this breakdown has been there's negative divergence that's been building across the board in a lot of these markets. So things to watch for there. Looking at some of the FANG stocks. So Apple, recently just broke to a new high in the last couple weeks, but today, pretty impulsive breakdown and sell signal. Still, I'd like to see it take out this former support right there at 144.45, right in there. So if that goes, then I think we're likely going to see some more selling across the board as well. But big impulsive candle to the downside so far today. We'll see how that closes out. Microsoft still hanging in there. We'll see how we want to close out the day. I suspect if we're going to sell off in tech into the close, Microsoft's likely going to break its support into the close as well. So those are all things to watch for on those big mega cap tech stocks. Let's look at some of these short stocks. Before I do, guys, I will do a live stream tomorrow, most likely in the morning. We'll see how my day turns out, but I'm looking to do one, so keep an eye out for that. And then if you're new, check out the course, link in the description below, and leave me a thumbs up. I do appreciate that. That does help the channel grow. I'll continue to put out, what I see in the charts. You guys keep supporting me. I do appreciate it. Ally Bank here, you can see here, really the last 2 days we've tested this resistance line right there at 51.13. You can see yesterday popped above it, failed. Today traded above it pretty much almost the whole entire day, but looks like we're going to close right on it. So they're going to keep everyone guessing on that one. I suspect it's likely going to hold as resistance, and we're going to work our way down to the bottom of this they call this a broadening wedge pattern. So that would set us all the way down, down towards 44 area. So looking at that, AMG continued, really selling all this week for the most part on AMG. Still need to take out, the former lows, but I think we're heading down to 148.58. I don't see any reason why this is not going to continue lower. So I'm still sticking with that one short. Abercrombie, I closed that one out the other day. BlackRock, we've been short this one. It hasn't quite worked out so far. Kind of ran against us a little bit, about 9% or so. But you can see over the last 2 weeks, really, the top has been in so far. So we're from the high, we are down about 4.5%. Looks like we're going to continue to the downside as far as I can tell. Looking at the levels, you've got a big upward price channel right there, kind of an upward trend. Broke trend here, and you never did there was a full back test right there, and these both never got a full back test. So like to see, continued selling, but I think we're heading down to 840.50 as our next level of support, and then very likely down to 790.80 area. Here's EMR. So, they more selling basically today. So I think we've started our way down in this one down to 93.52. Again, here's your uptrend line in EMR. We've got a sell signal right there and a series of back tests for quite a long time, multiple months of back testing, and then we're breaking down pretty impulsively. Now, I think we need to see some more selling next week, obviously, but still looks good. The buyers stepped in a little bit, and they just have been selling into the close. So that's pretty bearish to see the sellers come in. Here's the hourly chart. You can see the buyers, they bid it up in the morning, and it's been selling ever since. So looks like more downside on this one's going to continue. Tesla, no real change on this one. I don't see any. There's no break of any trend line support. Again, I need to see this trend line down here break. Maybe we're up. Maybe it's up here, but I think we're going to leave it right there. I need to see that go. And if that goes, and there's a ways to, there's some work to do on that one. But if it breaks, then I think we're setting up for a move all the way down to 460, 464. No sell signal really on the short term on that one. So we need to see that trend line right there break. So corn, I talked about this yesterday. Here's that support level at 1917, basically. You can see they undercut it just slightly today, but the buyers were there stepping in. So looking good. We're getting that reaction off of that support. I think we have more to go to the upside, possibly run up, hit this trend line, then come down. But at a minimum, I'm looking for some more upside up to that trend line as a potential trade idea. And that's a move from where we're at now of another 7-8%. So all in all, roughly a 10% trade. Looking good so far. And looking for some more upside on that one. And gold is still hanging in there. You can see the last 3 days have just been really tight price compression. Really no change for the last 3 days. Still hanging in there at that major level of support, 1790. It's going to be interesting to see where we close. I think if we close the week above that 1790 area, then it's going to signify that we were able to hold, and we're looking at possibly that a good sized breakout move next week. So we'll see. It's still too close to call, and regardless if you get it closed slightly below it, you're just right on that level where it's anyone's game. We are right there at support though, so I am looking at more upside. The miners are selling down a little bit today, GDX, just given the fact that the markets are selling off. But the miners are only going to go down so far without gold actually breaking. So things to watch for. And gold doesn't always sell off. Real quick, I had a comment where someone mentioned that gold is going to sell off if the market sells off. And that's true if you have a liquidity crisis where all of a sudden there's forced margin calls and everyone's having to sell their gold positions. But the other thing you have to realize is gold has already been in a pretty good correction for a while. And so this is not a case where all of a sudden everybody's piled into gold and then they got to liquidate their gold positions to cover their margin calls on tech or whatever. There's really not a lot of people that are piled into gold and gold stocks right now. It's really a low consensus trade. So I think that you're not necessarily going to get that liquidity margin call for selling of your gold stocks if the market sells off. Gold can act as a safe haven trade. And oftentimes when you have market weakness, people can run to gold for safety. So that gold does not always go up with the market, and gold does not always sell down with the market as well. Just the market's been rising, gold has not been rising. So if the market's going to sell off, it doesn't mean that the gold is going to sell off just because the market's selling off. So something to look at. It's really it, guys. It's a quick one. I just wanted to summarize what I'm seeing. Going back to the Q, I think the biggest thing is the Qs is selling off into the close right here. You can see right there, that's a sell signal. So I took a short on triple Qs just as I saw it starting to break here into the close of the week. So it looks like more weakness to come next week because of this breakdown. Okay, guys, that's all I got. I'm going to get the video out. Catch you on the next one.